Hi, I'm Lisa Jones, and you're listening to The Secrets of Stargate, where we talk about the hidden meanings and deeper layers found in the Stargate movies, TV series, and more. Joining me today are Jeff Hecker. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Lisa.
And Victor Lambs. Hey, Victor.
Hi, Lisa.
And today we're discussing the opening episode of Season 3 of Atlantis, No Man's Land. Season 3 of Atlantis opens continuing directly from the dramatic events of the Season 2 finale, Allies. Having fallen into the Wraith trap, McKay resigns himself to captivity in a cocoon. But Ronan keeps trying to escape and manages to. Shepard hides his glider on the same Hive ship and is surprised to be contacted by Michael, who seeks revenge after the Queen considers him to be too human. The Daedalus and the Orion race to intercept the Hive ships in deep space, the No Man's Land, between Pegasus and Milky Way galaxies, and stop them before reaching Earth. Weir is summoned to the SGC for a pointless grilling by the IOA. She dismisses them as bureaucrats, unable to risk a decision beyond questioning what she has already done. And I'll say she left Taylor behind in control of Atlantis.
Yes.
With Michael's help, Shepard manages to take out the hyperdrives on the first ship, then comes aboard to rescue McKay and Ronan, who've already escaped and are trying to cause trouble. The Orion is destroyed, and the Daedalus is heavily damaged in the fight with the Hive ships. Shepard and crew manages to reach the Daedalus, and with life support critically damaged and running low, Michael comes up with the plan to overpower the Hive with the weaponized Retrovirus. Shepard and team beam in to find that the Retrovirus has succeeded. Many of the Wraith killed each other, but the survivors are all humans without memories, except the Queen, but they shoot her. They put the X-Wraith into stasis, and the team is now in possession of oxygen and a Hive ship. To be continued. So what did you think about this episode, Jeff?
Yeah, I really liked this episode. I had forgotten that it was a part 2 of 3. So as it was getting to the end, I kept thinking, okay, there's not much time left in this. How are they going to wrap it up? It's really concluding next week, but it had a lot of great action and a lot of great space battles, and RAP to the Orion. We hardly knew ye, unfortunately.
Yep.
And it also had some great drama with Weir being recalled and Michael turning against the Wraith, which I had forgotten about that part as well. And that he comes up with the resolution to complete the original plan of using the Retrovirus. And so, yeah, overall it was really good, and great humor with McKay and Ronan as well. So overall, it was a very good episode.
That's true. And what about you, Victor? What'd you think?
Yeah, I like this one as well. It has, first of all, I can't believe that we're in season 3 of Atlantis already.
Right.
I watched the episode a couple of nights ago on Amazon, and then I was like, I'll watch the commentary on the Blu-ray, and then I realized I didn't have the season 3 Blu-rays, so I quickly ordered the last remaining copy from 2007 or whenever the Blu-rays came out off Amazon, and watched the commentary last night. But I really like it. There's a lot going on, but it moves quickly. We bounce around a lot. There's some really great visual effects that still hold up exceptionally well today. I mean, they're comparable with anything I think you'd find on TV today. The space battles look excellent. They're staged very well. And then there's all the drama in the Hive ship, which they have a new Hive ship set that looks quite a bit better than the old one. But yeah, I like it. Lots of great action and humor and firefights, and so it's exciting.
I agree. It moved really well. It's kind of like the season 10 episode 1 that we did last week. It is the same thing. They started off with a bang. I did read that this episode for Atlantis won a Gemini Award for Best Visual Effects. So they were rewarded with all of the good work that they did on their space battles and fighting and all of that. I'm with you. I'd kind of forgotten that this was a two-parter. And when we watched it, my family was like, well, can't we just watch the next one? And I was like, no, because then I'm going to mix it all up in my head when we go to talk about this. So no, let's just watch the one. So it was almost like they really had you on the edge of your seat, what was going to happen. and they left it as a 2-parter. So that I liked it. It was kind of good in that way. I was upset they damaged and the Orion's gone, but that is perfect Stargate because they always, like whenever they get a really good, piece of technology or ship or anything else, they make it where they can't use it anymore. So,
Yeah, now they have a brand new Wraith ship that I'm sure they're going to keep for several seasons.
Or at least an episode. Or
yeah.
What could go wrong?
Exactly.
So I guess first, how did y'all feel about, you've got Ronan and McKay on the Hive ship. You've got Shepard kind of lost in space. Then you've got Atlantis, who has no idea what's going on, but Weir is like, we're going to chase them. So she sends the Daedalus and the Orion, and then she's called back to Earth. So you've got like all the 4 different places of things going on at one time. Did y'all, right at the beginning, did y'all like that?
Yeah, I thought it kept things moving very quickly, and I thought it was handled better here than in the season 10 premiere of SG1, which was kind of, it also bounced around between different locations, but I think there was more continuity and more purpose to it here. It was kind of funny, Martin Garrow alluded to it, the writer on the commentary, that he wrote this episode before Robert C. Cooper wrote the first episode of season 10, which we did last week. And in this episode, there's a scene where, the Hive ship scoops up Shepard's, F302. And in that episode, there's a scene where the Odyssey scoops up Carter, and Martin Garrow seemed to think that wasn't just a coincidence, that there may have been some inspiration, but he didn't speculate because at the time he was still working for Robert C. Cooper. So, but there was a little bit of rivalry between this episode and that episode in terms of who had the most effect shots. And on paper, I think the episode of SG1 did, but then when Robert C. Cooper saw this episode, he was like, oh, no fair. You had like so many effect shots. And one of the ways they did that was they reused a lot of the footage from the previous episode. So the episode opens with the F302 dogfight, and they used pretty much all of the original dogfight footage from the previous episode, and then cut in, maybe 50 or 60% new footage introducing us to the other pilot and what was going on in Shepard's F302 at the time. And so there's some other thrifting of effect shots that they've used before in this as well, just to kind of stretch it out. And the new stuff looks great as well. But I liked the jumping around personally.
Yeah, I did too. It gave you a good sense of what's going on in these various places, and like you never really felt bored or felt like anything dragged. Like y'all said, it all moved very well. And I just had the thought when Shepard goes away that how many times are they going to presume he's dead? Because that's happened
yes,
in the season one finale. It's happened a couple other times since, and then I'm assuming it happens more if I'm, but I haven't watched Atlantis in a while, and I don't remember it as much as SG1. So, but yeah, the jumping around I did like, but yeah, nothing felt like it was boring or dragging. Like it all was very quickly, very fast paced.
I did feel for Weir and Atlantis because when they're trying to decide what to do to send the Daedalus and the Orion, and she gets called back to Earth, at that moment, if you think about it, she thinks Shepard's probably dead, and where are Ronan and McKay? So they're lost to the Wraith. It's the team is decimated at that moment, and I felt her conflict about going to Earth. I probably would have told Major Landry to, no, I'm not coming. Like, I would have said, no, I'm sorry.
No,
come get me.
Do.
Yeah. But she does. And that it gave her something to do in the episode. And it was really fun for me to see Woolsey, because Woolsey has never, correct me if I'm wrong, but Woolsey has not interacted with Atlantis yet. Yeah, and I don't think he's been on show Atlantis yet. I think this was his first episode. And we know, well, those of us who've seen it, know that he will become important to Atlantis later. So it was kind of fun to see them bring Robert Picardo into this, world of Atlantis, kind of like a launching pad for what possibly could be to come.
Yeah, and it's funny too because at this point he's almost a semi-regular. He's a recurring guest star. And so Landry throws in the line towards the end. It's like, at least you get to go back to Atlantis. That Woolsey guy is here almost every other week, which I thought was funny. But no, it was really good to see him. I liked Mitch Pileggi in this episode as Colonel Caldwell again, because he is, all business. But when Weir basically orders him on a suicide run to stop the Wraith from reaching Earth, he's like, the Daedalus is in rough shape. We don't know if we can fight. And if you send us out there, like, do you realize what you're asking us to do? And Weir says, yes, I am. And he's like, gulp.
Yeah.
But so yeah, basically stop the Wraith at any cost. But they have a pretty cool plan, which is as soon as they come out of hyperspace to basically fire every nuke that they have, as warheads on their tactical missiles and hope that they get a hive ship. Of course, the darts are all out because they've been fighting with Colonel Shepard in his F-302 as he's disabled the hyperdrive on the main ship. But we get this really awesome effect shot from far away of the two hive ships and the Daedalus, and there's like all these like snaking, it's like 12 missiles all snaking around, some impacting with darts, and then till one of them finally hits the ship. And I thought that was just really, really excellent because it's such a wide shot. It's not like you're in the action, but you can just see the missiles and you can actually trace what's going on in the fight. It's really cool.
Yeah, that was a really cool battle too. I just had I keep having these random thoughts of things that they should have done. I'm like, why don't you get some jumpers, cloak them, get them really close to the hive ships, and dump the nuke, and then run and then fly away.
Yeah.
But then you'd have to have. But I know they don't, because then it's not as dramatic. But that
they wouldn't have
if they ever
had time, because the whole thing was they were going to come out of hyperspace, and before the race ship put up their shields, then they were firing. They basically just like pop right out and
Yeah. I know. I just mean
them.
They should have a couple jumpers on the Daedalus just for purposes like that they could do.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a really cool scene too, and because I think the F-302 is one of my favorite ships. So getting anytime there's F-302s on screen, I'm happy. And you get a pretty good fighting. Like, you don't get as much of that really. It's usually just a couple brief shots of the F-302s flying around, but it is cool and they're fighting darts, which we haven't seen too much of this season, I don't think. So that was a really cool scene as well. And and I like Shepard latching onto the hive ship, and he calls it. I saw it in a movie once.
Yeah, exactly.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Millennium Falcon and Empire Strikes Back action.
Yeah. Imperial Star Destroyer. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. I had the scene, like you said, where you can see it from far away and see all the tracers. That reminded me very much of how Battlestar Galactica was, the way that they would film. And I did like it too. I thought it was a neat way to show it and how impressive it was. But the Orion wasn't as successful. Like they
took out a hive ship.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, they had trouble. They were like, Major Lorne is piloting. Commanding, what do you say?
Yeah.
Commanding.
Both.
In command. Yeah.
So he's like, I don't know if we're going to make it. And then they get there a few minutes later, and then they don't start firing right away. Right. Like you can tell it's like they've got problems from the start, but they do take out the hive ship. But in the process, they lose their ship.
Selenka saves the day, and we get another, like, the effect shot of all the drones launching from the Orion. And then we follow the drones with the camera to the hive ship. And then we have another big shot that shows both hive ships, the Daedalus, the Orion, and then just all the drones like chewing their way through the hive ship and destroying it. That was very, very cool as well. So the space battles in this, if you like epic space battles, you won't be disappointed by this episode.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
See, they actually had a plan. See, if you actually have a plan, you can take out enemy ships.
Is that a reference to SG-1?
Yes, it is, to Camelot.
The Orion. They didn't just show up and just start shooting everything.
Yeah.
Randomly.
Exactly, pretty much.
Maybe, I already forgot his name. Daedalus.
Oh,
Caldwell. Maybe Caldwell is just better at this than
I think he is.
I forget the guy's name. Actually, I can't remember the guy's name
Emerson.
on the Emerson.
Colonel Emerson.
Yeah, he's just better.
Yeah, Colonel Emerson's kind of just like a limp noodle.
I think Caldwell will agree he's better. Like he suffers no problem telling you how great he is at things. So,
yeah.
He's
and
fine.
Caldwell's had more experience at the helm of the Daedalus than Emerson has in the Odyssey. So
we'll give him that one. So what did y'all think about the twist where Michael is shunned, basically? The Wraith Queen is like, no, you're too human. We can't trust you. You're not one of us anymore. Like that he didn't know that they were going to double cross Atlantis.
Yeah, that was a surprise to me too, because what we see of Michael later is that he always has like these devious plans.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he was kept out of the loop on what the Hive Queen was planning was genuinely a surprise to me, because we don't really get that impression in the previous episode, but it is here, and the stench of humanity on him is too great, and he'll never be a Wraith. So as soon as he figures out, he goes back to his little room where all of the SG Stargate Atlantis material is, the radios, and Ronan's Justifier pistol is there too. I think it's called the Justifier.
So.
Yeah. And so he hears on the radio Colonel Shepard talking, and they form an uneasy alliance. And Michael says, like, I was just as surprised as you were. And Colonel Shepard says, oh, I was pretty surprised by the betrayal there. Mm-hmm. But the inside of the Hive ship is a new set, and it looks much better than, when we see the throne room, it's not just like, disco lights set up along the edge of like an auditorium and stuff. And the pods, where the Wraith cocoons look a lot better too, but they didn't originally. They originally filmed the scenes with Ronan and McKay in kind of version 1 of the pods, and you look at it now and it's all stretchy and elastic, and there's goopy tendrils and stuff. Before it was more or less just like foam pads, like textured foam pads. You see them in a scene where Colonel Shepard and Michael run to see where McKay and Ronan were, because they didn't reshoot that, but they wound up reshooting all of the scenes with Ronan and McKay in the newer cocoons because they looked so much better. And they were running short in this episode, so Martin Garrow had written more dialogue with McKay and Ronan, and that they had cut out, and when they went back and reshot it, they put that back in. But Jason Momoa, his request was, actually physically restrain me, tie me up, because when I'm struggling to get free, I want it to actually look like I'm struggling to get free.
That's pretty
And
good.
so where he's struggling and cutting himself out and has to break free, he's actually breaking himself out of there, because it was more authentic that way.
That's a pretty nice scene of him. McKay's over there like, we're dead, we're done. And Ronan, you don't know. You figure you're trying to get out, but you don't know what exactly he's doing, and he's struggling, and it's I don't know. It was kind of nice because it went on much longer than I thought it would. That you figured Ronan would get himself. I'm like, he's probably been in one of these before, all those years as a runner. So I'm like, he knows he can do this. So I was surprised it took him so long, but it was worth it because it was gross. All the tendrils, like you're saying. And McKay's like, get that off my back. And, it was much, I'm glad to know that that was a reshoot because it was really well done.
Yeah. And then McKay's uniform is goopy for the rest of the episode. And they had long discussions about how much goop should be on it. What color should the goop be and stuff. And they had to change the goop color a couple of times, or at least once, to get it right.
Yeah, I like the callback to Ronan just having an array of knives. Just, how many do you need? That was the callback when they were captured in the last season. And he's able to get one knife free and cut them. Because I guess that would have, these wraiths don't necessarily, these weren't the same wraith as that other time. So they wouldn't necessarily know that they need to search the sky very extensively to find all of his knives. So
true.
And I like that he cut himself free while Rodney's over there doom and glooming, and Rodney in this episode is just great as always.
Yeah,
complaining about doom and gloom, and then when they get free, he's like, "Okay, let's go blow this up." And
Yeah.
he's happy to do it, and then when he say, "Oh, there's a chance to survive," he says, "Well, I don't want to blow it up now. I want to survive." So just that was a great back and forth that bits with him and Ronan.
I don't think we see Ronan and Rodney together. That's not a combination we see a lot, just the two of them. So it was really well done.
I think we probably start to see it more from this point.
Mm-hmm.
We also see in this episode a different Wraith actor than James Lesenolf, the usual male Wraith actor. The one who confronts Michael in the hallway. He's played by Christopher Heyerdahl, who will soon become a very famous recurring Wraith character on the show. So it was cool to see him. We haven't seen him since the Athosian days in season 1 of Atlantis. Halling. Yeah,
he's been, and he was on SG1 as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he's well known to Stargate fans, but usually he's under makeup, except for Halling.
Yeah,
that's about the only time we see his face. So, and we didn't mention we have Connor Trinneer back as Michael. So he wasn't in the season finale, but he was back here. So, which I don't know if I would have really noticed. Maybe I would have noticed if we hadn't said something. I don't know.
Yeah. And, we get Connor Trinneer. There's one scene that they added later when they're back in the room with all the equipment and they're talking to Michael, and you just see the back of him. And that was a stand-in because they added that. They filmed that scene much later and they didn't want to fly him all the way up to Vancouver just for, 1 minute of acting.
So where was the guy from the last episode?
Well, they just show his back and overdub his voice and stuff. But they added some scenes pretty late in the production because they were running short.
I think it's interesting, the Michael aspect. So when they brought him in, and he's mad at the humans for experimenting on him, and then we see him in Allies, and he's like, "Well, this is what you wanted all along. So let's kill other Wraith by making them human so we can feed on them." And then we're back here where now the Wraith has rejected him and he's all buddy with Shepard. And then in the future, he's not going to be buddy with the humans at all, which seems more plausible. This, like you said, Victor, was kind of felt out of character for Michael, but I relate it more to how we see Vala a lot of times where she's a survivor. And she just does and says and manipulates what she needs to survive. And so I look at Michael as the enemy of my enemy is my friend. They're all enemies.
It's my ally.
Human, as your ally. It's like he had to do this because he got to get off the ship and the Queen's going to kill him. And, so where do I go from here? And so, hey, Shepard's here. Let's take advantage of the situation. And I don't remember the next episode, but I have a really good feeling that Michael's going to get himself a hive ship. That's just me.
Yeah, I can't remember either, but
but that seems plausible.
I don't remember. I remember some of the next, but I don't remember what happens to Michael because, like I said, he's an antagonist later for sure. So, but I don't remember. Part of me is wondering, and this is again, I don't remember if he's going to get retrovirus as well. Like if they're going to turn him like they did the others, but I don't remember for sure.
And
he stays pretty wraithy.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did y'all think about the Queen being immune to the retrovirus? Was Lauren or somebody says, "Oh, just like Beckett hypothesized." But I don't think we were privy to that information previous.
It was a retcon hypothesis that the females would not be necessarily receptive to the retrovirus.
So why?
Because they're female wraith. I don't know.
No,
well, you saw what effect.
Why did they do it? I guess is my question. Like, what was the purpose?
In the show?
Yeah.
Like for the writers, just to have that like fake out moment. Okay. Where they go over and she attacks Major Lauren, and they had to slow the footage down because the moment didn't really play as big as they were thinking. It was like very quick. Her her grabbing Lorne and lifting him up. So they slowed down the footage to kind of make it a little bit more dramatic before Ronan shoots her. And that was pretty much it for like the action parts of this episode. A lot of it is Weir on Earth talking to our favorite IOA members.
Mm-hmm.
And Martin Garrow even said like, I don't like writing these types of scenes because they're so boring. And it's just a lot of like, why did you do this? Why did you do this? Them second guessing her. And she, tries to say, well, I had your blessings, and stuff, but eventually she does confess to General Landry that she messed up, and he confirms that, yes, she did make the wrong decision. So that's good. Kavanaugh doesn't stick his head in the door and say, like, told you. But
that would have been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, I don't know. I don't know what the purpose of that whole thing was, except for maybe setting up drama for later. But what bothered me about Weir on Earth, this whole thing was we saw originally Flesh and Blood with SG1, season 10, episode 1, which we did last week. That one premiered the same day right before this episode. So you go from watching SG1 in the Milky Way galaxy, fighting the Ori. You've just come through the Supergate. They've lost contact with Earth. And then they're going to Chulak and Braytek and, all this stuff. And then here's General Landry in the middle of all of that going, Weir, you need to come back here and talk to the IOA. And really? That's your most pressing thing at the moment, is to have her here? And then when she gets to SGC, how's she getting back? There's no ship.
Yeah, the Daedalus will have to repair itself and then make the trip from the edge of wherever it is. Well, first they got to go back to Atlantis and deliver everything, and then they got to. So it'll be like months. 8 weeks before she gets back. Yeah,
it just seemed a lot for me.
Yeah, I guess I'm remembering that they do that like time skipping a little bit, where the SG1 stuff comes a good bit before Atlantis, because that happened. I want to say at the beginning of season 8, like they resolved Jack's whole thing at the beginning of season 8 of SG1, and then Atlantis takes place a while later because the base in Antarctica is up and running, and then so I think there's just it starts off kind of funky just because they're doing a premiere at the same time. If this was nowadays, it would probably be that they would probably premiere at different times so that you have like a Stargate show running at all times to get people to watch, rather than have it all combined onto one night. But there's other examples I'm thinking of, and there's like points where they kind of coincide and meet, but then they kind of they're essentially two different storylines. So I guess I didn't mind that they're like the timeline's a little funky.
Wouldn't the Ori want to like kill the Wraith? Because if they're going to eat all the people that could follow them, you'd think the Ori would just like fly a ship over there and take out the Hive ships, but maybe not.
I think I've said it previously. It would be interesting to have like the two of them battle it out for the Milky Way galaxy.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say there's an episode this season where it's like a part 1, part 2, where part 1 is SG1, part 2 is Atlantis, and they're working together to do something, and it impacts both the Ori, like it results in a win against the Ori and the Wraith simultaneously. It may not be a 2-part, it may be one episode in one of the shows, but
I think it's the Pegasus project stands out as
I think so.
And then there may be another episode after that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that one might be the one where SG1 goes to Atlantis, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. But yeah, there's another one I'm thinking of where they do they have like a big action scene, but yeah, no, and I thought it was interesting though that they Landry brings up that, or maybe it's Woolsey brings up that they're trying to power the Antarctic chair with Naquadah generators, and I don't remember if that part comes back in any way. Like I don't think we really see the chair in action again, which would have been interesting if they, had ever had to use that against the Ori or anything, but I don't think it ever
probably just bounce off their shields like everything else. Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting because he was like, we're powering it with whatever, but then, you should have brought the ZPM with you. Okay.
Or brought it back on the Daedalus.
On the Daedalus. That's
but
can it not go through the gate?
No, because it's what's keeping the gate open.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
If they
It's
unplug
what-
it, then the gate will shut down. Yeah.
Okay. So she couldn't have brought it anyway.
No.
Yeah. They just need to get a really long extension cord and like right before you're right at the edge of the gate, you unplug it and throw it through before it.
Yeah.
It was nice seeing her kind of figure out the game that Woolsey and the IOA are playing and just being like, they don't want to make a decision because then they're responsible. And I feel like that's just how they were. I mean, it's a characterization of politics and all of that in general, but
just running out the clock until the decision's made for them and then passing blame on the people who actually did something. Yeah.
Exactly. Taking responsibility if it goes well and taking blame, passing the blame if it goes badly. Yeah. So, and then we're left with Taylor on Atlantis and
meanwhile, all the people from Earth who are like actually in line for that role are like, what the heck? It's like, we're on the org chart as Taylor. Yeah.
I think it was that they just had to give her something to do, but then we only see her for like that one scene or so. And then I guess Atlantis is fine. They're just waiting for communication from everybody.
She knew that if things got really bad, Taylor could sing a song to everybody.
Help them feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's when you have all your leads and main supporting characters off Atlantis, like and Taylor's your only one, you got to use her that way. But I don't think they really ever set up because it's like if Weir's gone, it might be McKay or it might be Shepard. And if they're both gone, it might be Zelenka and Lorne. So, and then when they're not there, it's like, who is in charge? And it's kind of like, it's like managers out of the office. Everyone just work on your own stuff for today,
That's good.
I do like how Zelenka has a lot to do in this episode. He's like, on the Orion making the drones fire. And then when they all get beamed off the Orion before it gets blown up, he and McKay are trying to fix the oxygen, the CO2 scrubbers on the ships because they're all going to die. But they have these like little rebreather tanks that McKay, of course, grabs one of to help fix the ship. And eventually they realize, wow, we're in the middle of space and there's actually breathable oxygen on this ship over there. So how do we go get it? And Michael says, because they've used all their nukes. Michael says, hey, well, we could just, use that retrovirus you have. And fortunately, they still have it on board.
Fortunately.
And can beam it over. And the reason the Wraith Hive ship's been disabled is because Daedalus, under Colonel Caldwell, had the idea to target the Dart Bay and create a bunch of secondary explosions that, along with the nuke and the work that Michael and McKay and all them had done, has crippled the ship.
I will say, what did y'all think about the Wraith retrovirusing?
Fast acting, because it says it'll take 10 hours,
10 hours.
but then they start to run out of oxygen sooner and go over and find that people have been either converted or gone crazy or killed each other or fed on each other. So that part was pretty neat. Yeah.
I thought they were just like time just passed off screen and they didn't really like that was my assumption because I think they said it was going to take 10 hours before it's in full effect, and everybody in the Daedalus is kind of lounging around, trying not to move too much and
they didn't wait the full 10 hours. They're like, it's only been a few hours or but they go over and it's been fast acting
enough time,
and then they find all the human wraith with their like leather clothes and their long blonde hair, and they tell them that they're all in glam rock bands, and
they somehow got over all of their moral objections to the retrovirus. Did you notice not one person said, oh wait, but that could be wrong?
Yeah, at this point, I think they're more directly an enemy combatant, and they needed the air really badly. So, yeah.
And they're not necessarily taking these people to feed to other Wraith. They're just trying to get them, render them harmless so that they can, all survive. And we'll see what happens to that group of humans in the next episode.
Well, I don't think I've remembered this. I think it's actually just I'm thinking through it. That since Michael is what is it? The stench of human is on him. Is that what the Wraith Queen said?
Yeah.
Yeah, the stench of what you once or what they've turned you into.
Yeah. So these guys will
smell.
too. So are they going to be outcasts as well? It's interesting.
Yeah, they're like Hugh Borgs. Borgs, like our Borg buddies. Yeah.
And we also, I don't remember if they've really said how, like, what happens if the queen dies? What happens to all the Wraith kind of under her control? Like, do they just get absorbed by another hive typically? Or so I don't remember, what exactly happens, but I could see them just being, turning back into Wraiths and being absorbed by another hive. But I don't think they really say what happens when a queen dies, what happens to them.
And does a queen have to be in charge of the hive?
If she's not, they become Wraith pirates and they fly under no flag, raiding and pillaging and carousing and
the middle
Wraith
Wraiths take over.
Yeah, and singing Wraith shanties and.
Is that where Taylor's going to jump back in and?
Yeah, Queen of the Wraith pirates.
Teach them a little song.
Yeah.
Did we, Victor, do we have any foreign language titles of this one?
We did. A lot of them were No Man's Land, which in German is Niemandsland. In French, we get Menace solitaire, which is Threat on the Earth. And then in Japanese, we get Deguchi no Nai Tatakai, which is Battle Without an Exit.
Oh,
so I like that one too, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. All right. Did y'all have any final thoughts on this episode? Anything we didn't cover yet?
Really good space battles.
Yeah, it's a good one, and it's fun for me because like I'm not as familiar with some of these parts of Atlantis as I am with SG1, so it's fun to watch and like I'll probably remember stuff as it happens, but it being somewhat fresh for me is fun. So excited to see what's next.
Me too. And I was excited to see Andy Frizzell without her makeup. So the Wraith Queen, because she's been the Wraith Queen on every episode. So I'm just curious what she actually looks like. So I was disappointed when Lauren went over to her and she turns around and she's still the Wraith Queen. I was like, darn it. Now I'm going to have to Google you to see what you look like. All right. Thanks, guys. We'd like to take a moment to thank all of our patrons who make it possible for us to create the Secrets of Stargate. We have Father John R., John S., Luke E., Tim and Marie M., and Timothy B. Their generous donations make it possible for us to continue the Secrets of Stargate and all the shows at StarQuest. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. Be sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or find our video versions at youtube.com/StarQuestMedia. You can join us on our Discord at sqpn.com/Discord. To find previous episodes of Secrets of Stargate and to send feedback, please visit sqpn.com/Stargate. You can email us at stargate@sqpn.com or follow StarQuest on social media at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia or on X at SQPN. And for feedback, I think we'd be interested to hear how you think this kind of alliance with Michael is going to go and how you feel about Atlantis getting a hive ship and if they're going to keep it. And we'll be back next time discussing the next episode of SG1 Season 10, Episode 2, which I don't know the name of.
It'll probably be great.
Yeah, it'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Until then, Jeff Hecker, thank you for joining us and sharing the secrets of Stargate.
Thanks, Lisa.
And Victor Lambs, thank you as well.
Thanks, Lisa. And what then, huh? We fly home on the wings of imagination? Is that what we do, Ronan?
Yes. And once again, I'm Lisa Jones. Thank you for listening to The Secrets of Stargate on StarQuest.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but that just happens to be how I feel about it. What do you think?